Hello everyone, it's Spawnpoint and November is just around the corner and it is packed with loads of incredible new games that you don't want to miss. Whether you're looking for a fresh story, intense horror or some chilled gaming vibes to sit back during those winter months, I've got it covered. So we're going to go over all of the games that I think are worth playing this month, but drop a comment below telling me what you are excited to play, and we're just going to jump straight in. Okay, so we're kicking today's video off with one of my personal favourites, which is LEGO Horizon Adventures. If you've played any of the previous LEGO games like Star Wars, Marvel or Jurassic Park, you already know this is going to be a lot of fun. So this time we get to play as Aloy, the machine hunter that we've played in both Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. But this time you get to explore the world completely designed in LEGO bricks, so building, breaking, climbing and fighting our way through the Horizon world. Now, I've not played this yet, but from the trailers and the early gameplay that we've seen, this has got to be one of the best looking LEGO games that I've ever seen. I'm not sure if it's because it's been designed with the PS5 in mind, or that the lead devs behind have been changed, but this just looks incredible. Like, the thing that caught my eye was the lighting and the shadows in some of these scenes, to the point that it almost looks like real LEGO bricks. And then because it is a LEGO game, there's going to be loads of humour and Easter eggs throughout, which brings a nice twist to the Aloy and Horizon game that we're used to. And then we have the gameplay. So what I've always liked about LEGO games is the fact that you can choose to either play it solo, or you can go at it in co-op mode. And what's great is this one is no different. In fact, you can either play this couch co-op where two of you can run around the same screen, or you can play this online. For me, that's what these games are all about. Smashing bricks, fighting the enemies and collecting coins, all while teaming up with your family or your friends. So if you're a fan of LEGO games, the Horizon games, or you just want a new couch co-op game to play, this is going to be awesome. And what's great is, even though Horizon itself is a PlayStation game, LEGO Horizon Adventures will be coming to PS5, PC and the Switch on November 14th. Oh, and I've just thought, I wonder if this collab between LEGO and PlayStation exclusive will in fact open the doors to more games. Imagine a God of War or The Last of Us game but in LEGO. And here's one for the Metro fans, as on November the 5th we are getting Metro Awakening. This is a first-person story-driven shooter which is actually a prequel to the first game which came out in 2010. So this one is set in 2028, where the survivors of a nuclear Armageddon are clinging to existence, and the only way to do this is in the subways of Moscow. You play as a doctor on the hunt for your wife and the medication that she needs to survive, all while coming up against the various enemies which are lurking in the tunnels. It's got a gripping story, loads of close combat fights, and a choice of either going at it all guns blazing or stealth. Now this is a prequel, but it's not as fast paced as the previous games due to the fact that you're not a skilled soldier. So treat this as more of a survival story game rather than a typical first-person shooter game. And in case you hadn't worked this out yet, Metro Awakening has been exclusively built from the ground up for VR, which I can imagine being pretty scary and intense, especially as you will feel like you're wearing an actual mask as you brave the radiation and the darkness. It would have been cool to have seen this as a non-VR game as well, but I think this is great that we are getting more VR games to play across all of the headsets that are out there. I for one definitely need more VR games to play, so I've already added this one to my wishlist. So Metro Awakening VR drops on November 5th, and that's coming to PSVR 2 and PC, and it will work on the new MetaQuest 3S which I did do a review on a couple of weeks ago, so I'm excited to see how it plays on there. Okay, so Towers of Aghasba is like nothing else in today's list, and typically I would expect this to be a PC exclusive, but the fact it's coming to the PS5 in November as well, I had to include it in today's video. It also looks absolutely stunning. So this is a huge open world game set in Aghasba, which was once invaded and destroyed by a destructive force. Your job as the tribe's junior architect is to help rebuild your homeland to its former glory. And I'll tell you what, the visuals of this are really impressive. It's kind of giving me Avatar meets Horizon vibes, which I'm 100% all for. And the best part is, we can explore absolutely everything. Now, throughout the game, we will get to travel across the world, climbing the mountains, gliding through the air and riding through the landscape. But there will be plenty of building too, where we'll have to plan and build towns in order to rebuild the civilization. On top of that, we can grow plants and trees, each with different resources to build and wildlife to live in. Oh, and then once you've built your island and you're happy with it, you can invite up to 3 friends into your world so they can explore your island, trade items, and help you fight those battles. Now, bizarrely, unless I've been living under a rock for the last few months, I've seen very little hype or noise about this game, which is surprising as the art style and the visuals look incredible. Maybe this will ramp up as we get closer to the launch date, which is on November 19th. But this launches in early access on the PS5 and PC. Let me know what you think to this. And next up is Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, and wow, this is going to be a must-play in November. So it's a first-person shooter survival horror game which is set in a post-apocalyptic Chernobyl. It's been about 15 years since the last installment, so you could say this sequel has been long awaited. Now you once again take on the role of a stalker, exploring and navigating your way around the zone, which is filled with hostile environments, mutated creatures, and of course radiation. Now this game is dark, it's eerie, and it's everything that we wanted from a sequel. And if you didn't know this already, Stalker is an acronym. And it's an acronym for Scavengers, Trespassers, Adventurers, Loners, Killers, Explorers, and Robbers. So that's who we are. But this isn't just a run and gun game. This really doubles down on realism and survival aspects. So you're going to need to manage your hunger, sleep, health, and try to stay alive. The devs have also said this is a non-linear story, so expect to make your own path and your own decisions as you explore around the map. And with the advanced AI systems that they've implemented, combat will be challenging at times to the point that you'll want to be more tactical with your approaches. And then we have got to talk about the visuals. Again, we can only go from the trailers and the gameplay that they've shared online, but this looks great. It's been built in Unreal Engine 5, which gives us these stunning graphics with some pretty impressive environmental details. Like these dark underground scenes and the weather-driven lighting effects are going to blow us away. And as for the map, well, it's going to be huge. It's made up of 20 regions and it's going to be seamless, so we can explore and navigate our way around pretty much however we'd like. So yeah, combining the post-apocalyptic world, vast open map and this stunning design, this for me is a must-play. It launches on November 20th, and it's coming to Xbox and PC, and it will be on Game Pass day one, so definitely check this one out. And if you're ready to take to the skies, we're getting a new installment of Flight Simulator, which is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And this is without doubt one of the most highly anticipated sim games out there. And this next chapter in the series is looking really good. So we've not only got the entire world mapped out to explore, which still blows my mind how they've been able to achieve this, but every airport to take off and land at, and more than 70 planes, jets and helicopters to fly. Now let's be honest, none of this is new, and we've been able to do this for years, but where the changes really come in are with the graphics and the career mode. So firstly, this game looks ridiculously good. The entire world has been replicated with more than 40,000 airports, 1.5 billion buildings and 3 trillion trees. And as before, you can land anywhere, but for the first time you can exit your plane and explore 27 highly detailed areas from the ground. This is huge. Plus, everything is influenced by the seasonal changes which will also affect your flights. But it's not just the visuals that look awesome, it's the new career mode. So of course you can just fly around the world and do your own thing. I mean, that's what I normally do. But there are now several careers that you can choose from. And from the list that we've seen so far, this should be more than enough to keep you busy. We've got search and rescue, cargo transport, air ambulance, mountain rescue, glider pilots, and so many more. I think I've counted about 19 to 20 so far, but I assume that even more will be added at a later date. And then not forgetting that this is a flight sim, so you can play this as realistic as you'd like, with full controls and all assists turned off. Although with my very limited experience flying planes on the previous game, I struggled to take off, let alone safely land without taking all of my passengers with me. So Flight Simulator 2024 launches on November 19th, and that's coming to Xbox Series X and S and PC. And obviously don't forget that if you are on Game Pass, it will be on there day one. Okay, and another sim game that's dropping in November that I could not miss off the list is Farming Simulator 25. I actually saw this at Gamescom back in the summer, and for a game that I wouldn't normally play or put any time into, I was amazed at how good this looks. Over the previous games, it's got improved graphics and physics, including better shadows, distance fog, dynamic weather, and other weather-related effects. They've done an incredible job here with the landscape and the details that you're going to feel like you're actually out here ploughing fields or smashing out those 16-hour days in your tractor. And speaking of tractors, there are more than 400 tractors and machinery to choose from, all licensed as well, including John Deere, Massey Ferguson and New Holland. It's also coming with new crops including rice and peas, totaling more than 20 crops that you can now plant and grow. And this adds to things like sunflowers, wheat and barley. And for the first time, we will have a new map in East Asia, which means you can choose to work and live in America, Europe or Asia now. So yeah, if you've ever wanted to be a farmer but don't fancy the early mornings, Farming Simulator 25 drops on November 12th on PS5, Xbox Series and PC. And these two brothers return once again for a new adventure in Mario and Luigi Brothership. But instead of exploring the Mushroom Kingdom like we've done before, this time we're heading to the high seas. It looks like Concordia has been broken apart and it's up to Mario and Luigi, or you, to reconnect to the islands and save the day. We've got 3D gameplay, a nice classic art style of both the world and the characters, and a turn-based combat system. There's also a ship, which is what you'll use to navigate around the seas, jumping from island to island. Oh, and each island that you come across to save and reconnect are completely different, so they all have a unique design, enemies to fight, and tasks to complete. So we've got Rumbler Island, Flora Island, and Slip and Glide Island to name a few. There are of course the usual challenges to complete as well, such as puzzles where you have to work together in order to move on, seesaws and wall hangs. I mean, this looks and plays like a typical Mario and Luigi game. So Mario and Luigi Brothership launches on November 7th, and that's obviously coming exclusively to the Switch. Okay, and if you're in the mood for a horror game, I mean we have just had Halloween after all, we have got Slitterhead, and the game really is as creepy and scary sounding as the name suggests. So it's directed by the same director who gave us Silent Hill and Siren, so that alone should give you a good indication of how this game is going to go down. But if not, then think psychological horror, jump scares and creatures that look like humans but aren't. I wish I could show you more, but there are so many twisted scenes and monsters that you could only imagine in your nightmares that I can't really share the full trailer here today. As for the gameplay though, it is a mix of action and classic survival horror, so you don't have to just avoid or hide from these creatures, you can actually fight back, although the combat itself is mentioned to be pretty intense. As for the setting, it's based in a city full of people that might or might not actually be people. And that's what's cool about this, it's far less predictable than a typical horror game, where you know who the monsters or who the creatures are. It is totally different to what we've seen before. So if you're a sick Slitterhead launches on November 8th on PlayStation, Xbox and PC. And another sim that launches in November, and one that could scratch that itch for those of you who are into your theme parks, is Planet Coaster 2. So this is a sequel to Planet Coaster, no surprises there, where you get to build your own park from scratch, designing roller coasters, water parks and the entire park layout. Not only that, but you get full control over how the parks look and feel, including the scenery, decorations, building your own paths, landscaping and the structures. It's been years since I played a game like this. Like, did any of you ever play Theme Hospital back in the day? I just remember those huge bloaty head patients walking around and having absolutely no idea what to do with them. Well, they've also improved the AI for the visitors, so they should now visit the nearest toilet without walking across the entire park, and they will react more realistically to the rides. But the biggest improvement this time is they've added a new career mode, so if you want to smash out those objectives, well you can, or you can just stay in that sandbox mode and build that crazy park that you've always longed for. I wonder how many loop-the-loops we can fit on a single ride. So Planet Coaster 2 launches on November 6th on PS5, Xbox Series and PC. And nearly 33 years since the original game, Dragon Quest III is getting a remake. This is Square Enix's modern take on the classic game, which has had a complete HD 2D makeover. And I'm already loving this pixel art style with a 3D environment. It's got that old school feel like we recently got with Octopath, but it looks fresh. Now, just like before, you play as a hero on a quest to save the world, and even though it's a remake, it does stay true to the original story and game, but it just throws in some much needed animations and a lot more detail. So Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake drops on November 14th, and that's coming to PS5, Xbox Series, Switch and PC. And if you wondered where Dragon Quest 1 and 2 remakes were, well they're coming in 2025. And I did have a whole script and gameplay to talk about Path of Exile 2, as this was originally going to launch on November 15th. It's a full sequel to the original game with a new storyline and a complete overhaul of the game's mechanics, visuals and the systems. But just yesterday, the devs confirmed a 3-week delay for the game, which means it won't be launching until December 6th. Now this will be an early access release initially, and we probably won't see the full game until mid-2025. By the way, I wanted to address it here today in case you wondered why it wasn't in my list of new games to play. So there you have it, November is once again packed with new games and it's a good mixture of AAA and indies, with a couple of remakes thrown in. Now for me, I'm hyped to play Stalker 2 and LEGO Horizon Adventures, but tell me which games you want to play and I will give you a thumbs up for staying right till the end. And if you did enjoy today's video, check out my gaming desk setup video next, as it covers a full desk and room tour of this setup. Well, thanks for watching, please like, subscribe and follow me everywhere. Until next time.